Hey guys, how's it going? Chez back again and welcome to just an extra little upload I suppose. I went on a bit of a rant yesterday on stream with regards to the Chelsea versus Manchester City game from Sunday and well, everybody in the chat was asking me what my opinions were. I went to give my opinions and ended up just rabbling on. So I thought you might want to see it here as well, so thought I might share it. If you enjoy it, drop a like rating and I'll see you later. Right, so Chelsea versus Manchester City. Thoughts? It was extremely frustrating to watch that Chelsea performance. Numerous times last year, especially at the beginning of last year, we were playing free-flowing, passing football, as well as going on well-executed dribbles throughout the attacking third. And in this game, and so far this season, including the Swansea game, and the game in the Community Shield against Arsenal, we don't seem to be able to keep possession anymore. We haven't. Other teams have gone out and bought players and brought new players into the squad. We, other than the introduction of Falcao to the first team squad, haven't made any changes to the first team whatsoever. But it's like they've not played with each other at all. These guys won the championship last year. How can they now not even string together 5 or 6 passes or be able to play at the top of the game and pick out where to run for a dribble? They're just running straight at the defenders. It baffles me that this side can be so polar opposite to the one that was performing at the top of its game just, what, 2-3 months ago? And they've theoretically had a break, come back, had a pre-season where they can regain fitness, and some of the players look fitter than they were last year. So how can you be fitter, but physically, but not as sharp mentally? It's the mental astuteness that they're lacking right now, which is so frustrating to watch because you know the talent is in there. They've proven the talent is in there, and to watch them continually fail to do it so far this season is just infuriating. Players that, like, let's take Branislav Ivanovic for example. Over the past 2 or 3 years, he's been one of the, if not the, best right back in the Barclays Premier League. I'm not too biased in saying that. It's just a fact. Him and Pablo Zabaleta have been the 2 best right backs in the Barclays Premier League for the past 2 or 3 years. It's like I just can't explain Branner's season so far. He's not the fastest, but he's never had pace, and he's always not been the fastest. And he's like JT. Obviously, John Terry is a lot slower, but he's always been able to position himself in the right place at the right time and been physically strong enough to be able to hold off the fast wingers. He could not cope with Jefferson Montero against Swansea. Sterling was causing him problems today, as was Sergio Aguero. And he got unbelievably outmuscled for the Vincent Kompany's header. Now, and obviously Vincent Kompany is a very tall, strong, physical player, but Branner looked like he was made out of paper being brushed aside by the big Belgian. That was really out of character for him. He's had a very out of character season so far. The decision to take John Terry off at half-time, he said it was tactical, and I believe it was tactical, but not tactical in terms of the actual game itself. I think Jose took JT off to send a message to Roman Abramovich to say, buy me John Stones. It's a very Jose thing to do. It's underhand, it's sly, and it's clearly sending a message to Roman Abramovich, and I think that was why Mourinho took JT off at half-time, not because he felt Kurt Zouma would deal with the pace better, because JT has never been able to out-sprint anybody in his entire career, but he has the unbelievable knack of always being in the right place at the right time, and that experience on the pitch is second to none, and you can't put a price on it. It's priceless. You can't replace that sort of natural talent. And Gary Cahill was just as out of sorts as JT was in the first half. If anything, Gary Cahill was more out of sorts than JT was in the first half. But he took JT off, took the captain off, because he wanted to bring Zuma on. He took JT off because he wanted to bring John Stones into the football club, in my opinion. There was a point that Graham Souness brought up in the studio with the boys afterwards, and I wholeheartedly agree. Niall Quinn, by the way, I think this is the beginning of the end for John Terry. Is it? Fuck, mate. John Terry is still the best centre-back that England have. And I'm still bitter about the fact that he's not involved in the England national side anymore. No, no qualms about admitting that whatsoever. But he is hands down the best English centre back that this country has right now, arguably ever seen. Obviously, there are 2 or 3 other examples of players who could bring up, like Bobby Moore, etc., who could be put up there with the best English centre back ever seen. But JT is still, and has been for the past 18 months, right at the top of his game again. Rafa Benitez wrote him off. Confidence was destroyed. He had no confidence in himself. The manager had no confidence in him. He had a really poor season. Jose comes back in, gives JT the confidence that he had years ago. He played like he did years ago and has been incredible for the past 18 months. So solid. Best centre-back in the Barclays Premier League last season by a mile. By a mile. And I think it was tactical, the reason they took him off, but not for the game today. Zuma is the future of our centre-back defence, though. I don't doubt that whatsoever. Obviously, it would be nice to see John Stones come in as well. But I'd kind of like Raphael Varane, to be completely honest, although obviously English players are needed for the homegrown quota, etc. But going back to the game, Diego Costa. Undeniable talent, extremely good striker, when he decides to actually try and score goals. But so far this season, and towards the end of last season as well, he seems to be going out there to win free kicks and pick fights with people. Whereas Sergio Aguero, as you saw, is out on the pitch for one thing, to score as many goals as fucking possible. Whereas Diego Costa is out there to kick someone, in the hope that they kick him back so that he can win a free kick about 25 yards out from goal. Thanks, Diego. Not necessarily your main role, to be completely honest, mate. Rather than picking fights with everybody else on the pitch, you could, just a thought, actually keep the ball at your feet, not go down when someone kicks at you, ride the challenge, run into the space that's left by the challenge, have a shot on goal, score a fucking goal. How about that? That's an idea, just something you could try. Just something you could try if you want. Might work, might not, but at least try it, rather than just throwing yourself on the floor every single time. It's so infuriating. We had Didier Drogba, when he first came to the club, had a reputation of throwing himself to the floor a lot. And he powered through that and was able to come out the other side. Costa joined the club, was unstoppable for the first few weeks and months of last season. And defenders wised up to the fact that if you wind him up, his attention will be drawn away from the game and towards the personal battles with the defenders, and he won't be as decisive and as clinical in the final third as he would be if he was just left to actually play football. And defenders have wised up to this, and until he realises that that's what they're doing, and he is to ignore that and to just calm the fuck down on a football pitch, then we might be able to see some more goals from Diego Costa. Unfortunately for Hazard, because our entire possession football game hasn't been on point this season, he hasn't had the space to exploit, to go on his jinky little runs, work the space, win a couple of penalties, etc. He hasn't had the opportunity to do that so far. You can see that he's trying his fucking best, but 9 times out of 10 so far this season, when he's had the ball into feet, there's been a defender there, and a defender there, because we're not moving the ball about quick enough or decisively enough to open up the space in the defensive back line. Man City are a side that want to come forward at you. They want to attack you, especially at home. And we still couldn't find the space in behind. When they pulled out, we nicked the ball off them. We couldn't find the space in behind. How many times last season did we try and catch people on the counter-attack, and it worked beautifully? This season, we can't seem to do it. So far, obviously, we've played 2 games to this point. I'm not going to be like season gone. I'm not that pessimistic, but things need to change in that Chelsea dressing room. I don't know whether it's the outlook of the team as a whole, whether we need an extra face in the dressing room, whether we're missing faces in the dressing room like Didier Drogba, because that is, I know he didn't play that much football last season, but that is a big personality to lose from the dressing room. And when we lost him previously, you could tell that Didier wasn't in that dressing room, and again, you can tell that Didier isn't in that dressing room. And it's where the other experienced players need to step up to the plate. And John Terry can't do that if Jose's taking him off to prove a point to the chairman. Overall, Manchester City fully deserved the win. Congratulations, City. You were fantastic. The form you've been showing in the opening 2 games, definite championship rivals for Chelsea, if not championship favourites so far this season. Annihilated us. You were fantastic against West Brom. You were brilliant again today. Asmir Begovic, though, one thing to be said about him, fantastic performance from Asmir Begovic today. Could have been 7 or 8 goals for Sergio Aguero alone in today's game, and he made a couple of spectacular saves down low to his left-hand side in that first half, and 3 or 4 others as well, to stop them from getting through. Kept us in the game in the opening half an hour or so, and that is what you get when you have 2 world-class, maybe Begovic isn't quite world-class, but when you have 2 top-quality goalkeepers at your club. We had it with Petr Cech, and obviously Petr Cech would have probably done exactly the same thing had he still been at the club and had to step in for Courtois. He did so last season whenever he was called upon, and Begovic is doing exactly the same this season. Unfortunately, though, we just haven't really been able to click as a team so far this season. I don't know why. We haven't played a proper game this year. We haven't put in a proper performance. We were distinctly average all the way through pre-season, and it's carried into the competitive season, and it needs to change. I don't know what needs to change. I'm not paid to make those decisions or to be able to know what it is that needs changing. But there are people that are being paid a massive amount of money to make those decisions, and they need to make them, and it needs to happen soon before we lose touch with those that are a little bit further up the table. 5 points is the gap between us and City right now. That's not a problem. But if this continues for the next month, and we get to the 16th of September, and City have been winning every game, and we keep drawing, maybe losing here or there, and picking up the odd victory, winning 50% of games, it's going to be a real struggle to try and recoup that gap, especially if City are then going to pick up pace. They're rumoured to be picking up Nicolas Otamendi as well. That's going to improve their squad again. Chelsea need players. I don't know what players we need. I don't know who to buy or in what positions, but something needs to be done. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is that needs to be done, other than a higher tempo, a better frame of mind for Diego Costa, and just some confidence in themselves. We could do with a new right back, I think. I think right back would be nice, but I don't know. Time will tell. But it would be nice to see a couple of new faces in the squad before the end of the window. I think I'm done.